I don't really know where to begin. I'm a 34 male, and a few days ago, I discovered that my fiancé of 3 years has been cheating on me. I have no intention of reconciling, but I need to get this off my chest and figure out how to move forward. I borrowed her computer to check on some work I needed to deliver to a client. When I went to log into my Facebook, I noticed an unfamiliar email address in the dropdown. At first, I thought it was nothing, but I'm naturally curious, so I kept it in mind. Later, I Googled the email address and found nothing. Then I searched the email provider and, through some digging, stumbled upon her inbox. There were thousands of email exchanges with another man spanning years. From what I could piece together, they met up several times, even during our engagement. Some of these encounters apparently happened at our home, the place we've been building a life together. I couldn't keep reading after that. I broke down and had a full-blown panic attack. When she got home, I confronted her immediately. I told her I knew about her other life, and she panicked. She broke down, admitted everything, and tried to explain. She said it had nothing to do with me or our relationship, and that this has been going on since before we met. She claims it's something she does to fulfill a need she can't explain, and swore she'd stop if I'd give her another chance. She also said she loves me and doesn't want to lose me. But how do I even begin to process this? Knowing that she's brought someone else into our home, onto our bed, it makes everything feel dirty and irreversibly tainted. I know without a doubt that reconciliation is not an option for me. I can't trust her, and I feel like the life we were building together was a complete lie. I've already started looking into ending the engagement and figuring out how to untangle our shared life. That said, I'm feeling incredibly lost and broken. I never imagined this would happen to me, and the betrayal is so overwhelming. If anyone's been through something similar, how did you get through it? How do you start to heal from something like this? Update. It's been 3 days since I found out my ex-fiancé was cheating on me, and the roller coaster of emotions has been unbearable. I'm fluctuating between sadness, emptiness, and hatred. I'm destroyed by the person I thought was the love of my life. Looking back, the good times we had feel like a cruel joke. When things were good, they were really good, and I loved her so deeply. But now, I see I was so wrong about her. She's not the sweet, innocent person I thought she was. She's someone capable of betrayal on a level I could never have imagined. Reconciling the person I loved with the person I now know her to be is something I'm struggling with every hour of the day. I've already started making moves to protect myself. I canceled the credit card she had access to, ensuring she can't dig me into a financial mess while we're still living together. Unfortunately, our lease isn't up for another 2 months, so I've decided to stick it out until then. It's not ideal, but I don't want to dig myself into a financial hole trying to break a lease. My everyday mantra is protecting myself. I don't care about anything else. As for her, she's become a recluse. I don't know if it's shame or if she's just trying to avoid me, but she hasn't left the apartment much and hasn't tried to plead with me since our initial confrontation. One thing that surprised me is that she told all of our mutual friends and her family about what happened herself. I didn't have to say a word. She owned up to her actions, and while I can't say I care much about her reasons for doing so, it saved me the trouble of explaining everything to everyone. I've made the decision to remove her from my life permanently, but it doesn't make this any easier. Memories of her still torment me. I think about the good times, the person I thought she was, and the life we were building together. It's hard to reconcile those memories with the reality of her betrayal. I'm trying to look forward, but it feels like I'm just going through the motions. Even when I try talking to or meeting other people, I feel numb. How long is it going to take me to forget, heal, and completely move on? For those who've been through this, what worked for you? Story 2. I believe my wife of 10 years is sneaking around and having an affair. My, male 30, wife, female 30, of 10 years has changed in personality a lot in the past 6 or so months. So much she doesn't seem to be quite the same person anymore. She's become very emotionally flat and distant. She doesn't laugh or talk like she used to, and she doesn't seem to enjoy spending time with me anymore. She often wanders off into a different room, and I don't see her for most of the evening. She spends every single minute looking at her phone. She sits in the corner of a room with the phone plugged into the wall so the battery won't die. She's acting very secretive about her phone. She'll always turn it off if you get near. and she never lets it out of her sight. She seems to be staying up late into the night, sometimes past 1:30 a.m. on a work night. She'll kind of act like she's going to sleep on the couch, and then later she'll be back up and stay up really late before ever going to bed. She often tells me that she doesn't feel like going out or doing anything whenever I suggest we do something. She says she just wants to stay home. If I talk her into going somewhere, she just pouts until we get to go back home. Then, whenever it's her day off from work and I'm working and the boys at school, she goes out and stays gone all day. I know this because I have a driveway camera. She doesn't bring anything back home with her. She's not interested in shopping or working out. She's not involved in any groups, doesn't have any friends whose houses she ever goes to, yet she's gone her whole day off and only manages to get home right before I get home from work. She volunteers no explanation for where she's been the whole day. Doesn't even mention it. Our boy is special needs, and he can't verbally tell me where they went or why mommy doesn't bring him home from school until very late in the evening. I think she takes advantage of the fact that he can't tell on her. How is it that she rejects going anywhere with me and just wants to come home right away? But on her own, she opts to burn an entire day out somewhere. It's also worth noting that we live in a relatively small town of about 20,000, and the commute to almost everything you can imagine a town having is less than 8 minutes from where we live, according to Google. There's nothing that actually takes much time at all to get to. She's not interested in any of the above-mentioned activities, and she never leaves out of town for anything. It just makes no sense. A while back, I basically caught her making up things about her friends having plans to throw a party. She thought I'd not want to come, and when I suggested I'd come, then all of a sudden it's not happening anymore. The other week, I finally had enough and purchased a tracking device for her car. I only had it going 2.5 days before she was involved in a minor auto accident, and I felt like I had to remove it. I'm still waiting for the insurance company to sort everything out and get her vehicle fixed before I can proceed again. She basically ran head-on into someone. I feel like it was due to her mind being elsewhere that day. She did the same thing back in June. In the 3 short days I had info, she'd already made some questionable driving maneuvers leading up to the wreck, like circling and stalling around the parking lot of a bank every couple minutes and driving through the wrong way entrances. She also has a habit of pulling over just short of arriving at work for several minutes. I know this is all accurate because I retested the same thing myself. Now, I'm completely in the dark again, and she's still going out and staying gone all day on her day off, and it's tormenting me to think of what she could be doing with all that time, and knowing that I have the capability to actually find out. I believe she's been seeing someone, or maybe even buying or using drugs. Many of her coworkers have been involved in drug use and sleeping around. She's long been regarded as the goody-goody of her work, but all this behavior change is making me think that might not be the case anymore. Something is different, and I can sense it. If I confront her about this, she'll most likely act as though she doesn't know what I'm talking about. That's always been her go-to strategy to get out of any responsibility or something, is to play dumb. If she thinks I'm onto her, then she'll be a lot more careful about it. I don't want her to be careful. I want her to be careless. Right now, it feels like it's just a waiting game I'm playing. I have to wait to find out what's going on, and my gut feeling is telling me it's going to be very bad. At the same time, I'm getting so anxious, and I feel like I'm losing patience. The insurance company's dragging their feet as usual to get things back to normal, and I'm losing sleep and having nightmares. The secrecy about her phone is a big red flag. It's not normal for someone to be so protective of their phone, especially to the extent of turning it off or keeping it constantly plugged in and within reach. The fact that she's staying out all day on her day off with no explanation and no apparent reason is suspicious too. Combined with her disinterest in spending time with you and her overall emotional distance, it's understandable why you're feeling this way. The tracker on the car was a bold move. And while it'll only give you a glimpse of her activities, what you saw, circling a bank parking lot, driving through wrong way entrances, raises even more questions. It's frustrating that the insurance situation has slowed your ability to investigate further, but it's clear you're desperate for answers. I get why you're hesitant to confront her. If she's the type to deflect or play dumb, you're worried she'll just get better at covering her tracks. It sounds like you're caught between wanting answers and not wanting her to know you're onto her. That's a tough spot to be in. I think you're right to take your time and gather more information before confronting her, but it's also worth considering the toll this has taken on your mental health. You might want to reach out to someone you trust or even a counselor to talk through how this is affecting you. No matter what the truth ends up being, you deserve to feel secure and respected in your relationship. Stay strong, man.